are about to completely restructure your relationship with money through the perspective lens of the witch archetype, and say hello to Mr. Pugs. So we're going to be learning from the witch's medicine and magic that she has to offer us, and this is going to create a dynamic where when we think about money, it's fun and enjoyable and a vibe. So you're going to want to save this post so you can come back and re-listen in the future as well. And if you really love this activation, I do recommend signing up for the full Akashic activation series. It's called the Magic Money Quest. You can find it in my bio or in the comments. And not only, oh, it's 11:11 on my phone. Not only, make a wish, not only are you going to connect with the witch, but the mage, magician, wizard, witch, sorceress, alchemist, and the enchantress. So you can learn from their magic and medicine as well in regards to adding more magic coins into your bank accounts. So let's go ahead and get into the witch's wealth activation. Hello, adventurer, and welcome back. Today we are connecting with the archetypal energies of the witch. I'm going to go ahead and let you know to get energetically prepared for this emotional roller coaster that we're about to go on. So we want to be listening to this when we are in a good place to receive, because when I was channeling this with your energy body, I was writing down all the notes, crying, and there was so much energy that was being moved because of the nature of healing that we are getting into with this activation transmission. I'm not necessarily saying that you will have the exact same emotional response to this, because everyone's feelings are everyone's feelings and how they interpret information. However, if you are an emotional being, as we all are, but we connect with them differently, I want to prepare you for this one, because it's going to be not super different from the other ones that we have done thus far, but this one focuses on pulling trauma from our physical body to clear it. And so it's going to be a different type of vibration, and however you receive it is perfect and fantastic. You don't necessarily have to be crying your eyes out, but if that happens, I want you to be prepared. So let's go ahead and get into it. When I went into your energy field, the witch came overhead and said, "Where do you see yourself?" And this was tapping into our feelings to lead the way. And at first we were in this dark liminal space, and we moved into a room full of potions, and it looked much like this here. There are potions lining all of the walls. The witch asked you, what do you think the potions are made out of? You walked up to the shelves and started looking at the tags that were on the bottles. And when you attempted to read them, we started experiencing some anxiety because we were getting worried if we were going to get the right answer. And the witch reminded us, hey, let's take a breath and center within ourselves. Remember to tell yourself, the answers I receive are perfect for me. The answers I receive are perfect for me. And we can ask ourselves that anytime we're feeling those feelings of, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Not just in this circumstance, but anywhere that we are experiencing that in life, come back to that statement. The answers that I receive are perfect for me. Then when you looked at one of the bottles more closely and the tag that was on it, the word was escape. And you said, I wonder what this means. And the witch suggested that you drink the potion, and you got a little bit nervous about that. We were feeling some resistance. I mean, who wouldn't? A bottle, a potion that says escape on it. The witch and I reminded you, there is nothing that can harm you in this space. And you said, okay, bottoms up. And we moved into a different space, and you looked down at your arms, and you had all of these fairy-esque type of clothes on, and said, oh, wow! All three of us were standing in a field that was surrounded by trees, and you asked, where are we? And the witch said, the meadow of your mind. And the witch asked, what do you think that you were trying to escape from? Because that word came from your own consciousness. And the reason that you were seeing it on the potion bottle. And you looked at the witch and said, the pressures of society. And that was symbolized by us starting out in the room full of potions, it was giving constricted and feeling very boxed in, almost like you were trapped. And then us moving into the fields with a big open space is where you started to experience the feelings of freedom and liberation. You have been having to hide your magic, i.e. the potion room, away from everybody. And when we moved into the field, this is you clearly communicating your magic with others, showcased by you externally wearing fairy-esque clothes, so a signaler to others. And you ask the witch, why am I hiding? What is the purpose in that? Why is that happening in the first place? And you instinctively held up a mirror, which you pulled out of nowhere. I mean, the ethers. You were holding this handheld mirror and looking in it. And what you saw in the reflection of the mirror behind you, so you can see your face, but behind you in the mirror were all of these travesties that have happened in different lifetimes. And you took in a big breath and closed your eyes and said, this hurts my soul. And you opened back up your eyes and said, I want this time to be different. I will not experience this again. This is when a lot of transmutation started happening in your heart chakra. It was deep-seated pain that was being brought to the surface in order to be healed and cleared. We heard the words within a mother's touch. We all have this energy within us, no matter the gender. So we all carry a mother's touch. It is carried through our ancestral DNA of our mothers, grandmothers, ancestors, and all of the witches who have walked before us. This is when you heard the words, you are one of us, my child. You are welcome and you are loved. And this is when you fell to the ground and tears were streaming down, watering the earth, healing the travesties that have taken place. With your hands on the earth, you said, you are safe. I will be a beacon for the next generation, alongside my brothers and sisters who are standing proudly in who they are. I will not succumb to the fear tactics of others, for I see what is truly behind the intent. And this is when we went into your mind's eye to receive a third eye chakra upgrade and activation, seeing behind the illusions to the truth of matters. Then we came back into the field and you said, whoa, that was a lot of energy that was moving around. The witch looked at you and said, how are you feeling? And you said, motivated, clear, and inspired. The witch asked, are you glad that you drank the potion? And you said, I'm glad that I trusted myself. Because ultimately, you didn't have to drink it. We didn't have to go deeper into your psyche and find all of these witch wounds and persecution fears and work through them. And even though the witch and I were saying, hey, you're safe here, nothing's going to happen to you, you're not going to experience harm, you could have said no. and went about your way, or we went in a completely different direction. But it took you being very brave and strong and courageous and trusting in yourself that you were going to see it all the way through and experience something very beneficial on the other side. This is when you said, facing scary things does not always mean your demise. It can lead you to exactly where you are meant to be. Then we went to a different section of your field. and we're still in the actual physical field with one another, but we're going to focus on something different. And the witch turned to you and handed you a broom and said, come on, we're going flying. And you looked at the broom in your hand and said, do we actually need these? And the witch said, it's for the aesthetics. And what they meant by that is it's common symbolism for witches to be riding on brooms, not necessarily that they have to have them, but for the symbolism. And so we all took off into the sky up above where the trees were. The witch asked, what do you see? You looked around and said, infinite potentialities, because you could really go in any direction that you wanted to, flying on your broom. And the witch asked, what else do you see? And you said greenery. Because that's really what was all in our peripheral, was the top of these trees and all of their really luscious green leaves. Then the witch asked, where do you see lack? Where do you see lack? And you said, what do you mean? And witch said exactly what I said. Where do you see lack? You started looking around everywhere in all the different directions, and the witch said, notice how you are searching for it, searching for lack. Why are you doing that? And you said, because you told me to. And the witch said, did I? I said, where do you see lack? You said, oh, I guess it was my choice to search for it. And the witch said, let's try this again. This is when time rewound itself. And like you see in the movies, there's like, bloop, 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 and you start back from where you first began. And we're looking at all of the greenery of the trees, and the witch asked, where do you see lack? And what you were about to say is, all I see is abundance. But you stopped at, all I see is that, ooh, let me change that, and said, all there is abundance. All there is abundance. We may be experiencing an abundance of lack, but that's still an abundance. Instead of searching for lack, I can be aware of abundance. That is the perspective shift that we need. Instead of searching for lack, be aware of abundance. And this is a lesson in our safety mechanism that tries to look out for threats, and that is seen in searching for lack. Where can I improve upon in my life? What is missing? Whereas we could shift that and start focusing on things to be grateful for, because when you focus on gratefulness, you get more things to be grateful for. It is a beautiful vortex that you create of abundance to flow to you in new ways. Where is everything already working in my life? Let me focus on that. The witch asked, where would you like to go next? You closed your eyes, centered within, and instead of thinking about where you wanted to go, you started feeling into where you wanted to go. The witch asked, what are you searching for that is already within you? And you took a pause and said, my love. And then you transformed into this giant fiery phoenix. A massive phoenix in the sky, and you had all of this beautiful rainbow shimmer that was floating around in your aura, which said, this is your true power of transformation. You are a holder of the phoenix flame. The witch said, who better to lead than someone who understands the true power of transfiguration? This was a lesson in turning witch wounds, persecution fears, and lack mentality into your greatest strengths. Today, you are receiving a blessing from the Witch's Coven to embrace what is already within you. They are proud to call you one of their own, just as you will embrace others who are ready to reawaken their magic within. And we thank the witch so much for their beautiful messages, medicine, insights, and downloads, and for taking us on this journey of healing these deep-rooted karmic wounds of persecution fears and lack mentality, and clearing those from our fields. We want to couple this with the legendary witches, the descriptions, personality traits, beautiful music, to help us understand on a deeper level how to call upon the witch's magic and integrate that into our daily lives. I am so excited to see you in the next section, where we are going to be connecting with the archetypal energies of the sorceress.